Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday and welcome back to another live. I hope that you're doing well and happy first snowfall. We got our first snowfall for the season, so I have a lot of that natural light coming through and I'm so excited. But we have a lot to get through today, so let's just jump right into it. Per usual, if you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comment box below and I'll be happy to answer them. If you're watching the replay, feel free to leave a comment or a question there and I will be happy to answer that as well. So let's get started. There's two things I want to talk about today. The first thing that I want to talk about is a question that had come through in one of the story boxes that I had left, asking if you guys had any questions for me to answer live. And one of the questions that came through was someone had asked, can I manifest sexual compatibility? And I had written, so if you missed the response, I'm just going to tell you what I had said there. And I said, yes, you can manifest sexual compatibility, but it has to be with the right person. So here's what I mean by that. You can have sex with anybody. Let's be real, okay? People have multiple partners. Some people enjoy that flexibility, but for long-term sexual compatibility and compatibility that is going to blow your mind, it has to be with the right person. So that's why I say you should focus on finding and manifesting the right person first before you try to manifest sexual compatibility, because you can, like I said, have sex with anybody, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be great. It's going to be great and be to the level that you want it to be with the right person. And I guarantee you that a lot of you are, trigger alert, trigger warning, a lot of you are with the wrong people. And some of you already know that, and a lot of you don't know that. And some things that I say that you can look to help you figure that out is your sexual compatibility, right? So how often are you having sex with your partner? Are you enjoying it? Are they enjoying it? And usually what happens is the man is the first person to realize that this is the wrong partner or they're not satisfied sexually. The women will often try to justify it or rationalize it. But usually one partner or both partners are unsatisfied or it's not to their expectations. And that's how you're going to know that you're kind of with the wrong partner, because if you were with the right partner, then you would be having mind-blowing sex, right? Let's be honest. And another thing that you can look at is look at your physical appearance. Have you aged? Have you gotten less attractive? Have you gotten less fit? While you're with your partner? That's another indication that you're with the incorrect partner or the wrong partner, is by your looks have been declining drastically. I know a lot of men who's within the span of 2-3 years of dating somebody have aged drastically. I'm talking they look like they've aged 10 years, and it's because their life force energy is being drained by that person. So again, those are two ways you can help determine if you're with the right partner or the wrong partner. I'm not saying you need to leave your partner. I'm not saying you need to do any of that. That's your own decision and your own choice, because ultimately it was your own choice that led you in this position in the first place, right? So again, that's for you to figure out and for you to resolve. I'm just here opening your eyes to it. So can you manifest sexual compatibility? Yes, but first I would manifest the right partner, and then from there you can manifest sexual compatibility with the right partner, and to take it to a whole other level, because it can get really interdimensional and it can get very, very crazy and very wild, and it is definitely something you want to experience and explore. So let's just leave it as that and move on. So what else do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about manifestation, because this is a really popular time of year where we see a lot of gurus and coaches talk about vision board and affirmations and manifesting, and the new year's upon us and this is what you need to do, and let's all have a vision board party, and you know it, you've seen it online, okay? And all of that is really great. No shame on anybody who's trying to do those things, but let me be very clear and be very honest with you. Those are very surface level manifestation techniques. They're very basic. They're for some basic bitches, and you probably are not one of them if you are watching this live. So what you're going to want to do for your manifestation for 2026, I'm going to give you all the tips and tricks. I'm going to give you a deeper level analysis of what you need to do to help you manifest your goals for 2026, because now is such a crucial time for that. And I feel that people need a deeper understanding of manifestation and how it works and how you're going to be able to use these tips and tricks for your own benefit. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions along the way. And again, I will be happy to answer it. Okay, so I know a lot of you have watched this live before, and a lot of you have heard me say before that manifestation isn't a one size fit all, that it is a series of techniques and skills that a person develops to help them manifest. And those skills and techniques work differently for every single person. And it's the job and the responsibility of professional psychics and gurus to provide you with the tools and techniques, and for you to cultivate your own recipe or your own sauce on how to manifest. Because the way that I manifest is not going to particularly work the same way for you. The techniques that are working for me are not going to work for you, right? Why? Because everybody's at a different level. Everybody has different wants and needs. Everybody has a different relationship with the divine. Everybody is working differently in their co-creation method with the divine. So again, it's going to look different for everybody. Let me say that up front. So don't take this with a grain of salt. Take what you need and disregard the rest. Take what works for you and apply it to what you already have going on for you. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing that I want to share with you that's going to help you manifest your goals for 2026 is you need to get crystal clear on what you want. Okay, so there's a little bit more to this, and I know that you guys have heard people say this before, like getting crystal clear on what you want, but you also are going to have to you have to know of how it's going to feel and what you're going to do with it. I've just written these down, so I'm looking down at the paper, but let me repeat that clearly. You have to get crystal clear on what you want. You have to know how it's going to feel, and you're going to have to know what you're going to do with it. Okay, so that's in regards to your manifestation. So you want to get crystal clear on what you want. So let's say it's a car. I want a red Mercedes-Benz. That's not enough. You need to be more specific. I want a 2025 brand new red Mercedes-Benz. You could say, I want to pay such X amount of dollars. I want it to have, I don't know, from this particular dealership. I want it to have, I don't know, okay, features of cars. But do you get what I'm saying? You want to be crystal clear and detailed about what it is that you want. Then you're going to want to try to figure out, what is it going to feel like for you to have this thing? Are you going to feel happy? Are you going to feel sad? Of course you're going to be happy you have a brand new red Mercedes-Benz, because that's what you're trying to manifest, right? But you really have to get deeper into the feeling of already having it, meaning, how does it feel to drive it? How does it feel to pump gas in it? How does it feel to people congratulating you? How does it feel when people ask you questions about your car? How does it feel when you get to your workplace and people are like, wow, you got a new car? Like, how does it feel when you're driving it and, like, you know, people are looking at you as you're passing them by? You really need to get deeper into the feeling of what it's like to have it. And then you need to think about what you're going to do with your manifestation, right? Like, why do you want it? You've often heard me talk about manifestation and how you're more likely to get your manifestation when it comes to wanting something of service, right? Or helping, or where it's going to result in service to, or helping people. So again, what are you going to do with your new manifestation, right? You have a new red Mercedes-Benz. Why did you want it? I want it because I've worked hard and this is something that I want, and it's going to make me feel good and proud of my accomplishments and all the energy and time and effort I put into my work. Sure, it may not be benefiting someone directly, but indirectly it can. I could drive my parents, right? I could drive my brother, my sister, my aunt, my puppy. Think about it in those terms, right? You want to not solely focus on yourself. You want to broaden the, and that's not to say that your manifestations always have to be or benefit someone else, but you have to think in terms of service, right? Like, who is ultimately going to help and benefit for this? Because you don't want to appear that you are very selfish or you're very egotistical and materialistic, and that's why you want all of these things. You want to make sure it's of service, so the divine knows that, like, hey, there's a bigger picture to this. Okay, so that's the first thing I would start with. I would get very crystal clear on what I want. how it's going to feel, and what exactly I'm going to do with this manifestation when it comes through. Does that make sense to you guys? Let me know in the comments. Okay, let me see if I want to add anything to this. Not really, right? Like, you heard this before. I'm sure people have said this all the time, get clear on what you want. So that's nothing new, but I'm just telling you, take it to a little bit deeper, take it to another level, and really get into the feels of it. Get into the deep work of what it's like to have this thing and be clear on it. And I know people say, well, I've heard the opposite, where people say, you know, don't get very specific, just keep it open-minded and keep it open-ended. Yes, you have to do that as well, right? Like, how do I explain this? Like, you want to be specific because you want to give the divine as much information as possible about what you're looking for. It's very hard for them or difficult for them to navigate exactly or to give you exactly what you want, because remember, they're up here in a higher dimension, you're here on earth, right, in the 3D. So there is a gap in between. So again, giving you exactly what you want may sometimes be difficult or impossible to do, or there might be obstacles in the way, but they're going to try to bring you something close to what you want. That's why people are saying keep it very broad and open-ended, right? Because they're trying to set you up for that expectation of not getting exactly what you want. But I'm telling you, like, this is why you need to get clear on it, because you want them to bring a closer match to you as possible. So the more specific you are, the better it is for you. But also keep an open mind that it might not be exactly what you look like, but it will have elements of what you have asked for and what you made crystal clear in your manifestation work, okay? I hope that makes sense, and I hope that clarifies a lot of things for you guys. So again, you have to really understand that how the division is working and how there's this gap in the middle, okay? Like, look at my picture here. Like, this is the divine where this pink highlighter is. The gap in the middle is my face, and here you are 3D on earth. So you need to bridge this gap somehow. And I'm going to tell you how, but also you have to keep in mind that we are working in different dimensions here. So things do not work as easily and smoothly as you think they are. And that's why you don't see a lot of your manifestations coming through. That's why you don't see your vision board working. And that's why a lot of people think that these things don't work and they're not real, when in fact they are. You just don't know what you're doing. Okay? Okay. That's great. I know that's a lot. I know a lot of you are like, this is not what I signed up for when I wanted to come listen to about manifestation. But listen, if you really want what you want in 2026, then you better get it right. Okay. And I guarantee you, no one's going to give it to you how I'm going to give it to you, because nobody cares. And they just want to, mass market it for you and sell you whatever they're selling you, because they're going to manifest money from it. So you got to think about it for yourself. Okay, next step. The next step is, I just realized that all of these are difficult, and probably you guys are going to be like, what the hell? The next one is mirror work and self-concept reinforcement. So what am I talking here? You are going to have to do some type of inner work, meaning you're going to have to work on your self-concept, and you're going to have to reinforce your self-concept. Let's go back to my example of this Mercedes-Benz. If you've only driven, like, I don't know, a lower end car all of your life, and all of a sudden you don't even go to a mid-level car, you just go to a higher end car, do you have the self-worth and the capacity to handle that? Do you have the self-concept that's going to come with that? Are you going to be able to handle the compliments? Are you going to be able to handle the responsibility? Are you going to be able to handle the identity shift that comes with that? So that's where this self-concept reinforcement comes in, where you're going to have to be like, I'm worthy of this. I deserve this. And you're going to have to do some type of mirror work where the self-concept matches the manifestation, right? That they're bouncing off of each other, and that there is nothing intercepting them, where you don't feel that you are not worthy of this manifestation, or you feel that it is not something that you truly deserve. And here's why this is important, because If you don't have the proper self-concept, or if you don't have the proper identity for this, then the divine is going to know. They are going to know that that is not within your capacity. It is not within your bandwidth to give you something of this essence, because you cannot handle it. They are going to know that you're not going to get it. Okay, it's that simple. That's why this is so important. And I think this is one of the reasons why a lot of people's manifestations do not manifest. This is where a lot of people fall off the game, because they don't realize that their self-concept does not match this. Let's say you're trying to manifest a Malibu beachfront house and you live in the projects. Like, how is that, like, you know what I mean? You need to get your self-concept up to a point where you feel that you are worthy and ready to live in a Malibu beachfront house, right? You have the money to back up the utilities costs. You have the, you know what I mean? You have the responsibility and the knowledge how to navigate the land transfer taxes. You know, like, all of that comes with it, right? So again, you really need to work on this self-concept and reinforce that to the divine, that you're able to handle these manifestations that are coming through, and that this just isn't something you just simply want for the sake of wanting it. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? Let me know. Okay, the next thing is, to get your manifestation in 2026, you are going to have to do inspired action channeling. Meaning, going back to my example, you're going to have to bridge the energetic gap between the energetic realm and the physical realm. That's that little picture I was telling you before with my face in the middle. You're going to have to bridge the gap, okay? How do you bridge the gap? You're going to have to bridge the gap using inspired action channeling. What does that mean, Michelle? That means you're going to have to take action. And this is where that narrative where people come, like in manifestation, that people are like, well, I did all the, the visualization, nothing came through, like nothing happened, because you didn't do any work. Who's going to do the work for you? Not the divine. Hell no. They're not going to do all the work while you sit there and do what? Daydream all day about what you want. It doesn't work like that. Okay? Inspired action channeling means they're going to give you inspiration. They're going to tell you what you need to do. They're going to give you some clue as to what you need to do to get your manifestation, okay? And what you need to do is do it. That's so listen to the words that I'm using here. Okay? Listen, like, carefully think about what I'm saying. Take notes on what I'm saying. I'm saying inspired action. So they're going to give you the inspiration of the action that you need to take. It's going to come through some sort of channeling, right? Through some sort of download or inspiration or synchronicity. You're going to get the information from them, and it's up to you to take the action. The action is what's going to bridge this gap. The action is what's going to bring your manifestation down from the energetic higher dimensions down here into the 3D realm. So you really, really need to do the work. And a classic example of this is Kim Kardashian, okay? Because I've seen a lot of people saying, like, she always gets what she wants. She works so hard, and, it's just amazing. She's I don't think she's a billionaire, but like, and people don't understand the level of work that she's putting in to get her manifestations. If you have watched her journey or watched any of her interviews, and I've watched a couple of her interviews, and she has always said, not one interview has she not said it. She has said, I put in the work. My work ethic is insane. Her work ethic is insane because the manifestations that she wants is insane. They're out of this world. So the inspired action and the work that she's taking is getting her manifestations. Do you see what I'm saying? Go to watch her interviews. She never once has she hid from the level of work and effort she has had to put in. And a lot of you are going to come at me and say, you know what, she has the resources to do that. Yes, she has the resources to do that. But again, the resources came initially from the lower manifestations that she was putting in, right? She started very small and then she worked her way up. Her manifestations grew over time. So again, really pay attention and study her if you want to see a classic example of this manifestation in work, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. She'll tell you, in some of the interviews, she mentions the inspired actions that came through for her and that she had to take. Sure, she had people helping her, but she still took the action. She doesn't sit on the actions, okay? She doesn't just like say, you know what? I have an idea about Skims, but I'm not going to do anything about it. No, she hires the people who are going to draw up the sketches. She hires the manufacturing team. She gets the clothing samples. She opens the website. She registers the business. Like, think about it on this level. It's bigger than what you're thinking of, okay? So again, you really need to bridge the energetic and physical realms. How are you going to do that? By the inspired actions that the divine is going to give you through your channeling, or through any of the synchronicities, or through any of the information that's going to come through to you in downloads. Okay, so that's how you're going to manifest your goals for 2026. Hi to everybody that's joined. Hi, Krista states. Krista, I can't see it. Krista, Tessa, Flanny, how are you? Let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay, so don't get caught up on that. The inspired action channeling is actually really simple to understand. So make sure you're taking the work, make sure you're taking the actions. And there's something else I wanted to add to this. Hold on, let me see where I can add this part in. I want to tell you about this. With the actions, I want you to take timelines, okay? Like, I want you to set specific timelines with the actions. For example, when I'm doing my manifestation, I set timelines, okay? Like, this needs to be done in a week. This needs to be done in like 2 weeks. This needs to be done in like a month, or this needs to be done by like the third quarter. Like, you need to set timelines, and that's going to help you gauge how well you're able to bridge these timelines, or this, how you're able to bridge the realms. So that's going to help keep you on track, and that's going to help keep you motivated and keep you working towards your manifestations and helping to bridge the realms and the gap that is going to exist between them. Okay, let's keep moving. The fourth thing is you need to work on frequency matching. So what do I mean by this? You need to shift the timelines by resonating with the version of reality where it's already true. Okay, and I know a lot of you have heard this before, where people are saying you need to act like as if you already have it. Essentially, that is the same thing, but this is a little bit deeper. You need to match the frequency of the thing that you want, okay? And that's where this is a little bit different. That's not what I'm saying that the other people are saying. So I'm saying you need to actively shift the timeline by resonating with the version of reality where that thing already exists. Okay, and this is where a lot of people, again, are going to start to fall off on manifestation because they're not able to frequency match. And you really need to work on this, because once you frequency match, you're able to shift the timelines faster. But it's one thing to frequency match, but listen to the words that I'm using, okay? You also need to learn frequency stabilization. It's two different things. You can frequency match, okay? So go back to my example of wanting this red Mercedes-Benz. You can match the frequency of having this red Mercedes-Benz and bringing this and manifesting to their life, but are you able to frequency stabilize it? Frequency stabilization. Are you able to stay in that frequency? That's where you see these examples come up all the time of lottery winners who win large amounts of money and then they lose the money, right? Because they're not able to stabilize that frequency where the money can keep coming in, or they're able to hold the money. It's the same thing with your manifestations. Not only do you need to match the frequency, you need to stabilize the frequency that you're able to hold a manifestation for a longer period of time, as well as to bring in other manifestations within that frequency. So again, pay attention to the language that I'm using in what I'm sharing with you, because that's going to really help you bring your manifestations in, okay? So again, they're two different things. They're going to help you shift the timelines, and they're going to help you bring your manifestation in quicker and sooner. Let me know if you guys have any questions. It's a whole big, it's a whole And I've talked about this so many times with you guys about frequency matching and frequency stabilization. And again, it's going to make your life very in disarray. It takes a lot of deep work to do this kind of frequency work, right? Where you're going to have to really look at the people around you, the places around you, where you live, what you eat, what you do, your habits, your hobbies, your sleep. It's everything. Okay, you need to clean up your entire life and your entire auric field in order for you to do frequency matching and frequency stabilization. It's a lot of deep work, and it's a lot of hard work, and a lot of people can't do it because a lot of people can't face that level of accountability. So again, this is where manifestation falls off, and this is why people can't do manifestation. Okay, the next thing you're going to do for 2026 to manifest your goals is the bridge, is what I like to call the bridge of incidents, meaning you need to let reality rearrange itself. So let's say you've done the frequency stabilization and the state is now stable. Your subconscious and your external world begins reordering themselves, meaning a relationship starts to shift. There's sudden opportunities start appearing. Old structures start dissolving, okay? And this is what I'm calling the bridge of incidents. So when you're able to frequency match and you're able to frequency stabilize, this bridge of incidents happens, meaning certain things start to fall apart, rearrange, relationships end. I don't know, like sudden job opportunities appear. Suddenly you get a call about something. That's the universe or the divine rearranging things because you've able to call in your manifestation. So for example, go back to my example of the red Mercedes-Benz. Maybe you get a call that someone wants to buy your old car. Maybe you have you win a free survey or a gift card comes in the mail, giving you free gas for a year. Or maybe you have an additional parking spot open up at your condo or something like that, right? Like things really start to rearranging so that your manifestation is able to fit in. A common example is that you see people saying they're trying to manifest a partner and you need to create space, and they get rid of all like their clothes and they make a closet space for this person, and then the individual comes into their life. It's the same type of concept, but again, it works really differently. So you really need to let go of control at this point and let reality rearrange itself and not try to control it, because it is going to work in ways that is going to blow your mind. But again, this is only going to happen if the state, your frequency state, is stable. It's not going to happen if it's not stable, okay? And you typically will see relationships shifting, and you will see like old structures dissolving. That's usually what happens in the bridge of incidents in order to bring your manifestation in. Does that make sense? Let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay, we're just blowing through this. The next thing you're going to do to help your manifestations come through for you in 2026 is you are going to practice the art of detachment. Okay, and I know a lot of you have heard this before, where people are saying, think of your manifestation and let it go. Yes, it is true. Attachment creates resistance. So you really need to let go of what it is that you're manifesting, meaning let go of the timeline that you think it's going to happen in, let go of the timeline that you want it to happen in or that you expect it to happen in, let go of how you think. This goes back to the first thing I talked about, right? Let go of how you think it's going to look like, how it's going to come through for you, how it's going to work for you. Let go of everything, because nobody cares. The divine doesn't care. They don't care what you want. They care about how they're going to give it to you, what you're going to do with it. Are you worthy of it? Can you hold it? Are you going to use this for good? Are you going to use this to benefit others? That's what they care about. They don't care about what you care about, okay? It's really that simple. Nobody cares what you want, put it that way. And I know that's like a really tough pill to swallow, and I've had to deal with that so many times where I'm telling my mentors, but that's not what I want. I don't want to do these things. I don't want to be this type of person. I'm not trying to do all that. And she's like, nobody cares, right? The divine doesn't care. They're going to use you however they want to use you. And it's obviously and usually to the benefit of them and for you, but you're too human to even realize it or understand it. So again, the same thing with the art of detachment. you don't understand the complex layers of how the divine works because your human mind can't even wrap its understanding and brain around it. So just let go of all attachment that you have. That's the easiest thing you can do. Okay. And instead of you, and I think a natural nature is that people are going to want to understand how complex and divine, like how complex the divine is and how the divine works, but you can't understand it. It's just too complex. It's too intricate. It's too multifaceted where you're just not going to be able to digest it in the way that you should be able to. Okay. So that's why people have said, just use this art of detachment. And I agree. I think that's the simplest way for you to do this. Don't put more work on yourself. Don't go deeper than you need to go. Okay. Like I said, the inspired action channeling is a lot of work. So why are you going to take this on as well? Like, you really got to figure out here how to do like the least work possible for yourself, but still get your manifestation. Okay. Like you've got to play the game the right way. Okay. Let me know if you guys have any questions, if this makes sense to you, if I'm confusing you. I know it's a lot. I know it's complex, and I know that it's probably not what you've heard in typical manifestations, theories, or how people have shared manifestation to you before. Like I told you, a lot of it is very surface level and basic that people have shared, but it is not that simple. It is actually quite complex. Okay, the next part is you are going to have to play what I like to call the observer's game, meaning you need to shut up. Okay, you need to be silent during all of this work that I'm talking about. Why? Because you need to start observing if this shit is actually working for you. Okay, so meaning like you need to have a high level of self-awareness, a high level of noticeability. You have to be aware of things that are going around you. You have to know what is going on at all times, right? To be able, you need to start clocking that receipts. You need to start clocking things that are happening. You need to start gathering up receipts and being like, okay, this is showing proof that this is working. That's why I tell you guys all the time, keep a journal of like things that are happening, because you will start seeing in reality, in the 3D, how the divine starts to work, and you'll start noticing the language that they're communicating with you, and you're going to be able to start seeing it more and more, right? So it's the same thing here. Be silent, play the observer's game, and see like, okay, you know, I got one phone call, or I got one job offer that like has one of the things I want, or, you know, you went to the dealership for the Mercedes-Benz. Like, you really need to observe how everything is playing out and how this is working out for you. Like I say, a lot of people they don't have any awareness of what's going around them. They don't have any sort of, I don't know, they just lack awareness, right? So you really need to make sure that you are aware and you are silent and you are observing and you are understanding and keeping notes and keeping track, writing down the receipts and making sure that you are on the right track. And I guarantee you, when you be silent and really focus on these things, it's going to happen a lot faster for you, because normally what people do is that they tend to get very involved in the process, right? They keep like, I don't know, they keep like thinking about their manifestation, telling everybody about it. They keep like, you know, delving into it and getting really caught up into it and all the drama of like, where is it and why is it taking so long? And oh my God, what can I do? Like, shut up. Like, just shut up and let it happen. Like, that's the simplest I can tell it to you. Just be silent and observe. Continue to do, and people are going to say, well, what are you supposed to do during all this time that like you're doing, you know, you're observing and like nothing's happening? What are you supposed to do? Do the work. Do the work that I literally told you about. Take the inspired action. Go back to the example I gave you of Kim Kardashian. She's always doing the work. She's always doing something, because she knows the more you keep stirring that pot, something is going to come out of it, right? So she's always doing the work. It's the same thing. While you're playing the observer's game, keep doing the work. Keep working. she's the best example. I swear to God, she's the best example for this, because think about it. You often hear her tell her, like, she has so many businesses going on, plus her kids, plus her family life. And she's always saying, she's always putting actions towards different things. So yes, maybe you get one manifestation and then the actions for that is done. Start putting in the actions for the other manifestation. That's why she's constantly doing work, because she's doing so many different things, right? So it's the exact same thing. Study her and you will see, and study the principle of manifestations that I'm giving you, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't understand anything I'm saying, there is an example. She is an example in the 3D of how this is working out and how she is bridging the gap, okay? So again, play the observer's game and be silent. Okay, the last thing I want to share with you to get your manifestation in 2026 is you're going to have to get a little bit woo-woo. And I know some people are going to be like, no, you don't. Yes, you do, depending on your relationship with the divine. Some of you have no relationship with the divine. I'm not saying woo-woo like you got to go and start, like, I don't know, doing magic spells and all that crazy shit. Okay, I'm talking about, like, you need to get woo-woo in the sense, like, you need to start working on your relationship with the divine. Like I told you guys 100 million times, they're not going to help you if they don't know who you are. They're not going to give you assistance if you don't do anything for them. They're not going to talk to you if you are acting a fool every day. Like, you really need to work on your relationship with the divine and make sure that they help you. That's why I'm saying get a little bit woo-woo. Start praying, start doing candle work, I don't know. And it doesn't need to be like, people are going to think candle work like this is just a candle, guardian angel candle. I got it from the dollar store. I light it while I'm doing my work. I'm not sitting there praying over it and chanting and all of that nonsense, okay? That works for some people of different cultures, but I'm saying generally, just do some basic shit that's going to help you build your relationship, whether that's saying a prayer at night, whether that's lighting a candle while you study or do your work, something like that, okay, where you are developing and cultivating your relationship with the divine. You can do things like your journaling, or you can do things like just simple basic things. It doesn't need to be elaborate as you think it does, but you might have to get a little bit woo, okay? There are more advanced stages of woo-woos, like you can do offerings, and people are saying, like, who are you doing offerings to? Do offerings to your ancestors, to your spirit guides, to the angels. It could be whoever you think it could be, okay? But you're going to have to give something to get something in return. This is not a exchange where you are the one that is going to be receiving and doing nothing. Okay, and I've said this so many times, and I've explained this so many times to you guys. This is not that type of relationship with the divine. They do not owe you anything. You're not entitled to anything. And it is a very reciprocal relationship. So if they feel, meaning like divine, God, whoever you want to call it, angels, spirit guides, if they feel that this is not a reciprocal relationship and you don't have that trust and that level of like solidification in that relationship, then you're not going to get anything. Okay, so that's why I keep saying over and over in these lives, like, you really need to start to understand what exactly is going on here and how this is playing out. And again, you're going to have to give something in exchange. It works with that, like that with human relationships, right? It's always an equal balance of exchange. And it's the same thing with the divine. There's equal give and take. So again, that's going to look different for everybody. The level of work is going to look different for everybody. The level of woo-woo is going to look different for everybody. So again, you really want to put your best foot forward here, and you're going to want to put in the right amount of effort, because you want to make sure that you get what you want in 2026, okay? And that's it. That's all I have for you now, you guys. I know that's a lot. There's a lot more to this, but again, this is definitely going to help you set a tone and help set movement towards getting what you want in 2026. And I'm happy to help you with that. And if you have any questions, or if you're watching the replay, feel free to drop it in the comment box below. If you're ready to book your high vibrational energy reading, this is the perfect time. perfect time. November is the perfect time for this. We just had this full moon. The energies are super strong. DM me or click the link in bio to book your high vibrational energy reading. If you would like to book a Reiki session, angelic Reiki, click the link in bio or send me a DM. Join our free Sovereign Circle broadcast channel. The link is in the bio. I constantly am posting receipts, predictions, and like I said, you need to see the receipts from people who are mentoring you or you're consulting with, or spiritual gurus or spiritual advisors. Make sure they are showing you the receipts. I show you the receipts, meaning I'm showing you things here in the 3D world that correlate to what I'm saying is happening in the spiritual realms. You need to see that in order to know that these things are true. It's a free broadcast channel. Join it. Join our email list, and we are on X, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. And I will see you next week Sunday live at 2 p.m. Bye.